would like to introduce Oleksii Konashevych, a PhD fellow at Bologna University. He is the PM, he's the property registration on blockchain is the theme of his presentation. Now, Mr. Konashevych is a PhD researcher of blockchain, e-governance, and e-democracy. He wants to implement the blockchain as the main instrument of the development of all e-governmental systems as a tool for e-voting. So a lot of E in there. The main purpose of this will be to significantly reduce bureaucracy and corruption. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Oleksii Konashevych.
It's okay? Good afternoon. So I'm talking about the tokenization of real estate. Let's start with this figure. The left one, and the middle shows two existing concepts of governance, of public administration. The first one is a kind of paper-based thing, which is called bureaucracy area. And in this sense, citizens have to interact with the government, with bureaucrats, with clerks, in order to obtain services, administrative services. And there is always someone who are on the other side, is a kind of clerk that execute regulations and laws. The picture in the middle shows what we know electronic governments, but basically nothing changes because there is still someone who on the other side, but now we are using electronic means of communications. And there are some sort of ridiculous examples how it works inefficiently. Just imagine, in many countries, if you want to register your company, you apply online. Wow, good, it's okay. But there is another person who is sitting over there who receiving this application and make a registration manually. What's the reason to do it? If we can implement automatic algorithms that will comply, that will check everything that we need before the registration, and will do it automatically. So the third picture shows the concept which is called court is law. So this is a kind of idea that we don't need to interact now with people who manually introduce some things, but we just interact with software based on the blockchain, and this software contains all necessary things to make public administration. So I'm developing the concept, developed the concept of tokenization of real estate. My ultimate idea is that people will be able to make transactions online completely, to manage title rights on real estate without need to interact with notaries, with registrars, with brokers, with all other people, driven by smart contracts and just peer-to-peer, the seller and buyer, investor and developer. So this thing will allow people to invest into new development of real estate and to buy and sell real estate property. This is a kind of good idea. Why not to use tokens as titles to represent title rights on real estate? But unfortunately, it's not so easy because there are so many issues, legal issues, we have to address. For example, inheritance. We know that transactions are immutable. So if someone dies and there is no private key, how the successor will receive his token? There are some other issues, litigation, parents' rights, custody, delegation of rights, co-ownership, community property, and restore access in case the private key is lost. Taxation might be a case. Authorization from the government, and bundle of rights, and many, many other legal issues. To address all these issues in real world, we have all this infrastructure of laws, regulations, registries, public notary, courts, different companies, escrow brokers, and on the other hand, there is a great potential of blockchain to replace all this infrastructure by implementing smart algorithms. So let's see this scenario, the possible scenario, how it may work. First, the user will issue a token, and he must perform 3 initial steps. First, the government will certify that these tokens represents his title right. Yes, we need someone third to certify, someone whom we trust, the government, to certify it in the beginning that these tokens really represents the real estate property. The second thing, it might be a case or not for Liberland. I think citizens will decide it. If the owner will be identified or will be anonymous, because in many countries it's not possible to own real estate anonymously. So by implementing some solutions to identify the person, public key infrastructure, digital signatures, biometry, we can identify the owner. And the third important thing is to relate the token with properties, because until that moment, the token is a kind of empty, it doesn't represent anything. So we now, it's called land survey, something that describes what you own, the borders, the geographical points, and everything. From this moment, the user became the owner of his token and can make different transactions from one address to another. But in the real world, it's not possible just to transfer a title from one owner to another. We need some kind of legal background why you transfer this token from one owner to another, this title. It can be a purchase, a rent, a gift, or mortgage, whatever. So we need this infrastructure of smart contracts that will do these things. That will be a kind of marketplace where people will be able to go online to find their proper template and to adjust to their token. And voila, we have a smart contract. And we also need IT developers and lawyers dealing together to create this infrastructure of templates, because there must be a lot of templates to satisfy different needs of people for different legal issues. It's not just about purchase and gift and rent. But there is another layer of this system. I call it smart laws. What is smart laws? It's actually the same as, from the technical point of view, is same as smart contracts. These are algorithms, smart algorithms, but they're meant to be a kind of framework of the layer of smart contracts. So developers within this framework will develop smart contracts, and in this way, these smart contracts will comply with the law. I distinguish, research this area, and distinguish main aspect that the core of the system will have. So in order to address all legal issues, we need to implement in the core of the system solutions to assure third parties access. For example, judges or notaries in case of inheritance. It must be also ensure the rights of third parties that have interests, for example, marital property, joint ownership, and some others. We also need to implement some solutions. It might be a case or not for Liberland, but still we need it in the core. The system that will certify the transaction and will confirm or not confirm this kind of transaction. I will give you an example. In many countries of the world, it's not possible to sell the land until the local community will allow you to do it. In this sense, they protect them from what they want to protect. And there is another case, important case, that people will need to split and merge tokens. For example, if I want to split the land, I need to reissue 2 new tokens, or vice versa. If I have a couple of titles and I want to make it in one title, we need a technical solution for that. And there is also one thing that we have to implement, the mechanism of property rights management, which is the right to dispose, to use, and the right to possess, which is known in legal domain as a bundle of rights. But I will not stop here too deeply, because it's very, very legal, and this is a kind of for a longer presentation. And finally, we are on the layer of governance. So we need a kind of solutions that will implement smart laws, update smart laws, and in case we don't need, we'll cancel them. So the best concept I came up is to introduce this in with electronic voting. And electronic voting will be that system will publicity will be able to introduce smart laws and to update them with 3 layers. First, for voting for citizens, for example, for electronic referendum, smart voting for parliament, and for the government. The government will be in charge of oracles. Oracles is the concept that allows to maintain important data. For example, in all countries, we have different registries. Demographic registry will keep information about births, deaths, marital status. So in this sense, we need this trusted party that will provide information, trusted information for smart contracts. For example, if person dies, the smart contract doesn't know if he dies. So we need that oracle to provide this information. So this is the basic of this concept, and I hope this project will be first implemented in Liberland with the help of the government and key partners like Propi. Thank you for your attention. Yeah.
All right, Oleksii Konashevych, thank you so much, sir.